Clashes continue along the Durand line after Afghanistan and Pakistan launch cross-border strikes against each other. Dozens have reportedly been killed on both sides as Pakistan declares it's in an open war with the Taliban. Changing faces and changing priorities. Canada signals a major reset in relations with India as Prime Minister Mark Carney arrives in the country for a 4-day visit. We look at how things have changed since Justin Trudeau and what both nations stand to gain. India lays down the gauntlet to big tech, warning digital platforms must ensure fair revenue sharing with content creators. We look at possible models and what it means for platforms and publishers across the digital ecosystem. Hello and welcome. You're watching RT India. I'm Osama Shab live from New Delhi. We have a packed bulletin ahead with major world developments, including our top story. A major escalation between Pakistan and Afghanistan as both sides carry out cross-border strikes. Islamabad has officially declared it is in an open war with the Taliban, while Kabul has claimed it hit military sites deep into Pakistan. With clashes ongoing, here's what both sides have said.
The Air Force of the Ministry of National Defense carried out air operations in various areas of Pakistan at about 11 o'clock today. These operations included a military camp near the city of Faizabad in Islamabad, a military base in Nowshera, a military base in Jamrud, and a base in Abbottabad. These air operations were successfully carried out, which targeted important military bases, centers, and military facilities of Pakistan. These operations were carried out in accordance with the air assaults by the Pakistani military regime in Kabul last night.
At all 53 locations, the attack was repulsed. At no one location, they could not make any success.
Well, we have not seen such a large-scale border clashes between Pakistan and Afghanistan. This is first time that the last night clashes, which started after the early dinner in Ramadan, and people were preparing for the night prayers in Ramadan, and all this started at 8 o'clock, around 8 o'clock in the evening. And what we have learned from the state-run television and the Minister of Information tweets, which says that these Afghan Taliban forces started unprovoked aggression from across the border. So the Afghan forces attacked at least in 5 sectors, including Chitral, Mohmand, Khyber, Bajor, and Kuram agency. So these in these clashes, Pakistan says that just 3 of its soldiers were killed and 2 were injured. On the other side, Pakistan says that in retaliation, Pakistan Air Force jet fighters and then the quadcopters were used in these attacks in retaliation, and they have killed at least 133 Afghan Taliban, and they have also injured 200 Taliban. In further details, they say that at least 2 core headquarters of the Afghan Taliban in Nangarhar and Paktia and Kabul provinces, 2 brigade headquarters and 2 ammunition depots, and at least 80 tanks, APCs, and artillery guns were attacked and destroyed. Pakistan has also claimed that 27 Afghan posts were destroyed, completely destroyed, and 9 were captured. The situation is very serious between the 2 countries, and we have never seen in the past the clashes like that because it was a friendly border between Pakistan and Afghanistan. There are several tribes living across the border, and on this side of the border they meet each other every day, and they have contacts But now the situation is getting worse and is escalating. We don't know what happens next, but Pakistan blames that the Afghan Taliban are actually patronizing and funding the Pakistani version of Taliban called TTP, and these terrorists have hideouts inside Afghanistan. So Pakistan's government was consistently asking the Taliban government to not to allow its soil for the terrorists to cross and come into Pakistan and involved in the terrorist activities. There was a ceasefire between the two countries in Doha, but the situation changed dramatically when there was a huge bomb blast in a mosque in Islamabad, and there was a foreign country head visiting that day Islamabad. So serious questions were raised about the Pakistan's security. There was a suicide bomber who blew himself in a mosque and 40 people were killed. 160 were seriously injured and many were in critical condition. So that day Pakistan decided and they announced that they will attack the Taliban hideouts in Afghanistan to protect its border and to protect its people. Two countries are blaming each other and there is a lack of trust between the two because there are some serious allegations by Pakistan. Pakistan says that Kabul and New Delhi are joining hands and Delhi is supporting, India is supporting the Afghan Taliban, while Taliban say they have the right to establish diplomatic relations with the neighbors and any country in the world. So we hope that friendly countries, Turkey and UAE, will start mediation between Islamabad and Kabul in coming days.
A local journalist, Samiullah Popul, filed this particular report from the Afghan capital. Take a look.
I'm standing in the historical city of Kabul, where the situation here is alarming, after Pakistani and Afghan forces have been engaged in serious border clashes since last night. The Afghan Defense Ministry released a statement saying it had taught Pakistan's military a lesson during a counter-operation completed at around 12 last night. According to the statement, Pakistani posts were attacked by Afghan forces, and at least 55 Pakistani soldiers were killed, while dozens of others were also wounded. The statement goes on to say that several Pakistani soldiers were also captured by Afghan forces. It continues that 2 military headquarters and 19 posts were captured in total by Afghanistan. It also confirmed that at least 13 civilians, including women and children, were killed in Pakistani airstrikes on the Torkham border area. It said 8 Afghan soldiers were killed and 11 others were injured in the strikes. Mr. Zabihullah Mujahid, the spokesman for the Islamic government of Afghanistan, has also said that after Afghan forces attacked Pakistani military posts, the Pakistani Air Force retaliated in Kabul, Kandahar and Paktia provinces, and some other locations, but no casualties have been reported. According to further details, several border towns in Nuristan, Kunar, Ningarhar and Paktika were also attacked by Pakistan ground forces. The statement goes on to clarify that these attacks by the Afghan forces were in response to Pakistani Air Force attacks on February 22nd, in which 12 civilians were killed and 4 others injured. The situation is uncertain here in Kabul city. People say that the situation is far from stable, but for now the city is calm and life is continuing as normal.
And I'm now joined by ex-Indian Defense Attaché in Afghanistan, Major General Sanjay Meston. Major General Sanjay Meston, thank you very much for speaking with RT India. First of all, Pakistan, it has called it an open war. What does that practically mean according to you?
Usama, good evening. Yes, it's an open war. There is no doubt about it. And it had to happen because firstly, certain ground factual aspects is Durand line till date has not been recognized by any Afghan government or Taliban 1.0 or Taliban 2.0 since 1893 when the Durand line was ratified with the Britishers. That is point one. Point two is Afghans hate Pakistan in totality. When I was there, I recollect they were the most hated nation in the world. And Pakistan can keep talking about Muslim Ummah, but the Afghan people do not even buy that Pakistan's ploy. Number three, the fact of the matter is Pakistan is an artificially created state by the British, and therefore no Afghan government has ever recognized even existence of Pakistan. In fact, Pakistan was last of all was recognized by only Afghanistan. And the Afghans, the Pashtuns on both sides of the Durand line are subject to brutal torture by the Pakistan army. When I was there in Afghanistan, in Kabul, I recollect there were so many reports coming that even in the Pakistan territory, that is in the occupied Khyber Pakhtunkhwa area, which was earlier part of Afghanistan, the the Pakistan army used to fire excessively by helicopter gunships, by artillery on the Afghan people on their own side of the border. That means in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa area. So they have got no love lost for any Pashtuns. The reality for Pashtuns is they have no choice. This is their homeland.
Civilians, right?
Sorry?
And you meant the civilians, right?
Yes, the Afghan civilians, for them, unfortunately, they are staying in a territory, the Khyber Pakhtunkhwa area, which is actually their homeland, but unfortunately, it happens to be part of the artificial Pakistan. So, the Pashtuns on both sides actually are united, and today you will find there will be an uprising in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa amongst the Pashtuns over there. They will align, and finally, I see at the end of the day, the end state would be that in the near future, the greater Afghanistan would be achieved, which General Daud Khan, one of the Afghan prime ministers and later president, wanted it. And this is what the Afghans wanted. And similarly, what will happen on the Baluch front, that will also get liberated. So Pakistan, which has, they were the ones who created this Taliban and jihadis to mujahids to fight the Russians. And thereafter, the same Afghan Taliban were trained by whom? By the Pakistan army, by the ISI. They were the ones who are controlling them. And when the Americans were there, these all Afghans were actually being sheltered and being trained in Pakistan. So what does it imply? These people are the ones who had produced these snakes, and the same snake now is biting them, and they deserve it. And therefore, it's a war which now they are going to face the reality.
So when you look at the language, of course, it makes de-escalation harder, but does it also box both the sides into a corner politically as well?
Yeah, absolutely right. See, one thing I must state, if you see it in the international arena, Pakistan always keep playing one side of the story, and that is, the Indian support is there. Sorry, Indian support is historical and cultural. India and Afghanistan have been civilizational nations. Which state was created in 1947? Pakistan. So coming on to that fact, the Pakistanis, since they were created by the British and some of the Western countries, they can never digest that India is having good relationship with Afghans. And we are friends with with the people of Afghanistan. That is point one. Point two is politically, Pakistan keeps playing the Indian card. That is in Kabul. And today they are telling that TTP is being trained by Afghan or they are being sheltered. It is other way. Today, all the terrorist groups, including 9/11, every terrorist attack in the world was planned, and the execution was planned where? In Pakistan. So they are the ones who are sheltering all terrorist groups in the world. They are the ones who are training, and they are the ones who are launching it into India. And politically, yes, the Pakistan has one advantage that countries like Turkey or to some extent even Saudi Arabia, they are aligned with them. But it is high time today. India should now start taking some bold action, and which, if you want, we can discuss about it.
All right. Major General Sanjay Meston, when we talk about these allegations being leveled on India, is this really about evidence, or is it about shaping public opinion at home as well as abroad?
It is no doubt it is just shaping the public opinion, for which they have failed. When I was there in Kabul or in Afghanistan, traveling all over, I used to interact with the International Security Assistance Force and the Russians, and including the Chinese ambassador, who is incidentally today the Chinese ambassador in India. One had a functional relationship with all these people. The Americans, the International Security Assistance Force, always acknowledged that the root cause of the problem is only one nation, and that is Pakistan. And they keep always, playing with the idea of false allegations against India. So I would like to today state that India should be that country that today, since we are historical and cultural friends, and Pakistan today, Afghanistan is facing such dire consequences by an enemy. This enemy is attacking the children. They are attacking the women. They have, and they know that poor Afghans, they do not even have any air defense system. They do not have anything worth called an air force. These people are doing blatant bombing. Is this a warfare? And I'm glad that the Afghans have risen to the occasion, and their ISPR, DG himself has acknowledged in the briefing that 53 posts of the Pakistanis were attacked. What does this imply? That the Afghans, they are united. And I will just give you an example. When I was there in 2013, an incident occurred in Goshta, where the Pakistanis wanted to attack Afghans. That time the Afghans struck this post Goshta, and there was unity in the entire Afghans, and they were celebrating their victory, and they killed a large number of Pakistan soldiers. So today, even if they have a superior air force or everything, let me tell you, at the end, the Afghan Taliban would emerge victorious. Not only Afghan Taliban, it is the people of Afghanistan. They hate them. They're ready to kill them, because this nation has devastated the entire world. This nation has devastated the entire region, that is Pakistan.
All right. Major General Sanjay Meston, thank you very much for speaking with our team. Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Well, nations around the world are calling for calm, including Russia and China. Beijing has called for an immediate ceasefire, while Kremlin's spokesperson, Dmitry Peskov, he has urged both sides to halt hostilities.
The direct clashes between Afghanistan and Pakistan that have taken place do not bode well. We still hope that they will cease as soon as possible. Therefore, as always, we are closely monitoring this situation.
China is deeply concerned about the escalation of the conflict and deeply saddened by the casualties it has caused. The intensity of this round of Pakistan-Afghanistan conflict has surpassed previous ones, and its continuation and escalation will bring harm and loss to both sides.
The Canadian Prime Minister has touched down in India's financial capital, Mumbai. Mark Carney's visit, it comes as relations between Ottawa and Washington, they are at an all-time low. Previously, he signaled that it's time for a strategic reset when it comes to the emerging multipolar world.
The middle powers must act together, because if we're not at the table, we're on the menu. In a world of great power rivalry, the countries in between have a choice: compete with each other for favor, or to combine to create a third path with impact. We shouldn't allow the rise of hard power to blind us to the fact that the power of legitimacy, integrity, and rules will remain strong if we choose to wield them together.
Now, this apparent reset appears to be a sort of olive branch from Ottawa after years of former leader Justin Trudeau being critical of India. There would also be a clear strategic objective at play, with Canada rapidly looking to seek a fail-safe for over-reliance on Washington. Prime Minister Carney previously said it was important for the world's so-called middle powers to come together, and India's 1.4 billion people market, that would certainly tick all the boxes. Now, India, it represents scale, growth, and long-term economic opportunity. In fact, concrete signals of a thaw emerged back last year when Canada invited Prime Minister Narendra Modi to the G7 summit. Now, both sides, they appointed new high commissioners, reopening diplomatic channels that had been strained too. Ottawa, it also shifted its tone on earlier security allegations, moving from confrontation to engagement. In fact, this visit to India, it will certainly build on that very momentum. In Mumbai, a Canadian business delegation is pushing for stronger trade and investment links. When Carney reaches New Delhi, he will then hold formal talks with Prime Minister Narendra Modi. A key focus of all those discussions, it is thought to be the revival of negotiations on the Comprehensive Economic Partnership Agreement, also known as CEPA. It's expected to cover goods, services, investment, agriculture, and digital commerce. In fact, it would put both the nations back on a path of structured cooperation, also setting an example for the multipolar world order that they are both backing. In fact, we earlier spoke to former Indian High Commissioner to Canada, Sanjay Kumar Verma, for insight on how New Delhi might interpret Ottawa's shift in tone. Take a look.
India stands by itself, and therefore Canada getting pushed by some other country and therefore looking at India would be oversimplification of Canada-India ties. India, with 1.4 billion people and fourth largest economy, moving on to becoming the third largest economy, large market size, etc., will remain an important partner for Canada and any other nation which is trying to have a global impact. India had never been interfering in the internal politics of Canada. So no longer is it still kind of coming out as a thorn. And I hope that Canadian authorities see it and look at the logic of the relationship and the principle on which India stands of non-interfering in the internal politics of any country, and drops even no longer. Looking at CEPA once again, we'll start with fixing and freezing the terms of references to start with. And thereafter there will be a number of years of negotiations before things are actually frozen. So I would have rather gone in for early progress trade agreement, which was already being discussed. 8 or 9 sessions had already been held. We were very close to signing that agreement. But nevertheless, this is the desire of the two governments. So let's see how long does it take, where does it lead. But at the end, it will be able to facilitate more trade, more investment, more people-to-people contacts. Finally, there has to be a convergence of purpose. There has to be exchange of views and exchange of experience. Thankfully, Canada has not suffered in the hands of the terrorists that India has. So we have got a few things to tell them when it comes to protecting our sovereignty and territorial integrity, particularly from the hands of the Khalistani terrorist groups.
As the battle over online content intensifies, India is turning up the heat on big tech. Digital platforms, they have been told to take responsibility for the content they host and ensure fair revenue for creators and the media. India's Information and Broadcasting Minister Ashwini Vaishnav, he has said platforms, they must wake up to their role of protecting society.
The platforms must also share revenue in a fair way with the people who are creating the content. Whether it is news persons, the conventional media, the creators sitting in far-flung areas, large influencers, small influencers. And if this is not done voluntarily, then there are so many countries which have shown the path to get it done in a legal way.
Well, for more insights on this, we are now joined by Viral Sakhia, a digital content creator himself. Mr. Sakhia, thank you very much for speaking with RT India. When you look at this statement coming from the IT Minister himself, the government says that platforms, all these platforms, they must take responsibility. Do you agree?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a great thing for us, as in there are more than 50 millions, you can say, creators across the nation. But moreover, you can say only 2.5 million people are just generating some revenue from, kind of big platforms. So this news is really a great thing, as in if I personally say about myself, as a creator, if we talk about this, news will really impact all the creators, and this will give boost to all the creators because there are a lot of investment, there are a lot of efforts behind this. And I'm really happy that and glad that Union Minister have addressed this thing.
Mr. Sakhia, what legal changes would you require to make digital platforms legally responsible for the content that they host? And more importantly, how likely is such a reform in India?
Yeah, I think transparency is the one thing which we are even not aware. We are just aware that this much content has been published, this much views are being done. But again, how much revenue are they gaining from the advertisers? Because more than 30% of the Indian consumers, you can say purchasing decision depends upon the creators nowadays. People are searching on YouTube, Instagram. They are influenced by creators like us. So how much people are paying to them and how much sharing are we getting? The transparency is missing. I think that must be one thing which should be clear, like a crystal clear with everyone.
When the minister talks about protecting society, what exactly does that mean to you as a creator?
See, there are a lot many other creators as well. There are a lot many other digital platforms as well who are just influenced by some or the other paid clients, paid customers. So if we talk about social responsibility or socially, if we should be responsible, then it is 100% that creator must be ethical. They must be doing that thing which is good for the society, not for the kind of promoting wrong things or different things which it is not recommended for others. It is not suggested for others to buy.
Many critics, they would come out and say that, look, this is also in a way in order to curb free speech on social media platforms, because many of the creators were a little critical of the government. They would not be able to host those contents anymore because they need to be paid, and that catch is that if you're not able to pay for that content, you won't be able to host it, and hence you can't quote them. Do you think that is also one of the cases here?
Yeah, you can say that, because nowadays creators are not getting paid from the big giants. That is the reason why they are going to the brands and they are promoting this thing. So nowadays the situation is that only they have to run their expenses and they have to depend on the brands itself. So that is the only source of income for them. That is the reason it has been influenced, and that is, I think, that is the reason why government have taken this initiative. And if we get a fair amount of revenue, then it is 100%. People will be more influenced towards giving the right thing to the customers and creating right information for the customers, rather than influenced by some brand.
The IT minister also says that many countries, they have shown the path to get it done in a legal way. Now, how do India's proposals, especially on revenue sharing, compare with similar efforts in other countries? And do you think that can work in our country as well?
Yeah, it is the time that there must be transparency for everything. If there is any brand collaboration or brand paid customers, then there must be some legal way that we have to mention something. If it goes up with a legal thing, then 100% it will be useful, as in in other countries as well. If it is say about there are legal norms wherein we have to specify that yes, this is a paid deal, this is a brand promotion deal. But here there are many other people who are not doing this thing. So we should focus on legal things. We should create some ecosystem wherein creators can apply that, they can just inform that yes, this is a paid deal, and we can influence that thing accordingly.
Okay. Do you also think that regulation it will actually level the playing field between big media houses and the independent creators?
Yeah, 100% that is needed, because if there is regulation is for the both the things, as in even big giants will get an idea that yes, this is the thing which we need to focus on. And even creators will get an idea that yes, absolutely, this will clear gap between both the things, as in creator and industrialist, both the things.
Do you feel that revenue sharing currently, is it transparent enough, or does it still feel like it is a black box right now?
It is 100% a black box, as in I'm working as a creator from past 2 years, and till the date I am not aware that how much advertisers are paying for my videos, as in but whenever you open a YouTube video or Instagram video, there are some advertisements going on. But as a creator, I am not aware that how much they are charging with them. We are just getting for the views, or we are just getting for the number of watch hours and everything. But yes, there must be transparency, and that is the only thing which we need.
All right. Viral Sakia, thank you very much for speaking with RT India.
Thank you.
In an exclusive interview, the Palestinian ambassador to India joined our head of news, Runjhun Sharma, for the first episode of our brand new show, India, Russia and the World. You can watch it in full right here on RT India up next.